Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Making It in Manhattan. Today we have a very special guest, the one and only Dave Lopes, my husband. Thank you for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So I thought it would be really fun to have Dave on here for a guest episode since it is just about the 1 year anniversary of our wedding. You guys see Dave all the time on Instagram and TikTok, and I thought that it could be really fun to do a little Q&A so everyone could get to know you better. So this is Dave's first podcast, by the way, everyone. So I thought that we could just start out by telling everybody a bit how we met, for anyone who might just be joining us or who haven't, read about our wedding and how we met and everything. I thought maybe you could dive in by telling people the story of how we met.
Sure. So we met in college. We went to two separate colleges, and then we had two friends that met on Tinder, actually, and they were talking to each other, and then they wanted to go on a double date because they didn't want to just meet each other by themselves, so they took us with them, and then we met, and then been together ever since.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get rid of him. Just kidding. Yeah. We've been together for 10 years now, married for one, and, it's so funny. They really say, when you're least expecting it is when you meet someone, because I feel like, I don't know about you, but I went into that double date, really not expecting to, meet my husband.
No, I didn't expect that either, I don't think, so.
Yeah,
I was just going for him at the time, so I wasn't really expecting that.
Yeah, I was just going for my friend, and then we've literally been together ever since, have never separated, and we met that night, and then Dave asked me on a date the next week. Our first date was actually on Halloween, too.
Yeah, it was.
Which I always think is funny. Mm-hmm. So, met 2013, then we got engaged in 2020, married November 12th, 2022. So I figured I could just dive in with, these are all questions that you guys submitted to me on Instagram. So, first of all, can you just, introduce yourself a little bit? I feel like people know nothing about you.
I hope they know my name.
Except for your name.
So my name is David. Last name's Lopes, Lopes. In case anybody's curious how to spell it, it's got an S at the end, not a Z.
Yeah.
And then
you're from New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey. I'm from actually northwest New Jersey, so I'm from Clinton, New Jersey. Actually, Pittstown, if anybody's familiar with that, which they're probably not.
And then you went to Kutztown.
And yeah, I went to Kutztown, which is the college I met you. Obviously, you went to Albright. I went to Kutztown.
Yeah.
That's where we met.
You have a bunch of brothers and a sister.
I do have a bunch of brothers. So I have a bunch of brothers and a sister,
and
obviously.
Dave, and you're the oldest.
You're basically just doing. You want to just do it for me?
Trying to help you. I'm feeding him the answers, guys. And you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest. I have two cats. So
yeah, we have two cats now. Yeah. Anything else people would maybe want to know about you?
I don't think so.
Okay. When's your birthday?
Was that?
I don't know. What's your sign?
I'm a Cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
People are interested in that. And then
my sign. I'm a Cancer. For anybody that's interested.
People want to know what you do for a living, though. That was a very big popular question that people ask.
Of what I do for a living.
Yeah. Maybe do you want to start from the beginning, your career story, just quickly?
Sure. So when I met Caroline. So I went to, I was working believe it or not, I was working at a car dealership. I worked at that car dealership for 10 years. And then I left the car dealership. Once Caroline's brand was up and running, I left and I went and did payroll. And then I was working for a payroll company. And then I discovered the company that I work at now. And now I work for a bank. But I work at the insurance division of a bank. And I do the building insurance all throughout New York City, Long Island, and I have clients all over there, and so I do that now. I'm very into cars, as Caroline knows, so I do still work with a lot of car dealerships, and obviously we do have a bunch of cars as per the wedding and things like that. So so I get to do that and still, I guess, have a little bit of my passion as well as make money as well.
I think that's the best. That's the goal in life. I think most people want to make money, have a job, but then still be able to do things they love. And he referenced our wedding car for any of you guys who don't know. At our wedding, like our getaway car at the end of the night was
the Cadillac, the Alante.
What year is it?
It's a 1987.
Yeah, it's like white with a red interior. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So Dave's a big car guy. As you guys know, I can't even drive. I have my license, but
more driveway space for me.
Yeah, more for Dave.
Yeah.
It's like closets. That's how we balance out.
Yeah, because I don't have one of those. I think that's one of the questions later on, so we'll get down further.
If not, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So the next question is, what was your first impression of me?
So you were much different at that time. You were not. So first of all, Instagram was like still in its early days of like, like the 6 filters to choose from.
Yeah.
So you, like, the Caroline that I met back then was definitely much different than now. I mean, you had just had, I think, your first internship at that time.
My second, I'd had
because I was basically, I was basically with you through all your actual
Teen Vogue,
career,
everything.
Yeah, and so much different than now. But I mean, it's still the same personality, I would say. Like, you just, I don't think you were as colorful, or maybe you thought you were as colorful, but you weren't.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think your style has definitely evolved and things like that. So definitely less crazy outfits. Like, honestly, I think when I met you, the first time I met you might have been wearing sweatpants still. I don't know if you might have had
leggings,
college.
I think.
Yeah, you were like in
leggings.
full college swing, so I don't think you were like.
So you're telling me I didn't have a good style back then? Just kidding. I wasn't stylish.
So I didn't say that.
Just
but
basic
I just said different,
college. Yeah.
Different.
But similar personality.
Yeah.
But so, like, your first impression of me, like, you saw me it's 10 years, so it's kind of hard. But, like, you walked into our college house, like, saw me for the first time.
I don't really remember. I mean, I don't really remember that. I'll be totally honest. I remember walking in, but I don't really. There was so much stuff going on, and I wasn't really looking to meet anybody, so I wasn't really paying attention to that moment.
Yeah.
I think the time I remember more is like when we went out to that first dinner with everybody, and I think that's really what I remember more, because at that point I knew who I was talking to and things like that, but I think at that point I was just there. Like, there was a bunch of, obviously you lived in a college house.
I lived in a house with like six
other girls, so I didn't even know who. I was just going.
He was coming to meet me, and like I had seen a photo of him, but he hadn't seen a photo
Correct.
of me.
So I had no idea who I was even meeting when I went into the house. I was just there for backup.
And then we went on a double date, and that's when we like really met.
Correct.
And got to chit chat. So then the next question is, aside from me, of course, who is your biggest fashion inspiration from your style?
So I don't necessarily have I don't know if I have a fashion inspiration, let's say, but I think I pull inspiration from different things. So obviously I have a much different, more formal style than you, definitely less fun. And so I think my inspiration, like, I'm very into like how, and Caroline knows this, I'm into like classic fashion. So I love like Ralph Lauren or things that like just never go out of style. Like, I like things like, Caroline's more of the minute. She always is up to everything. I'm more like a classic style that's always the same. Obviously, I'm wearing a suit. I was at work, so I do wear suits to work every day. And so I like suits, and I'm definitely much more formal, like a sweater, kind of like I guess a mix between like a JFK style or like even like that classy like Frank Sinatra kind of style, or Ralph Lauren, I think, is the modern person for that. But yeah, that's it. So that's my style inspiration, but I think it's obvious as I'm sitting here.
I feel like your winter style core is though like Kevin McAllister.
Yeah, I guess.
The sweaters.
I think you just call it that, but I think it's just like,
the sweaters. Yeah. He loves a good sweater.
I do. I have a lot of sweaters. Got to dry clean your sweaters. Everybody out there. Actually, take care of
Keep them in
put
good
them in
shape.
The washing machine.
Yeah, you don't want them to shrink. So the next question someone asked is, how has your style changed since we've been together? Did you think it's changed?
So yeah, no, it has changed. So like, I remember the first thing. So the one thing that I guess stands out to me, and this is like fairly recent actually, is I'm not really like a brand name person. Like, I'll buy whatever. Like, I don't really
definitely.
care. Like,
if
whatever
you like it,
I just buy it, and so, and you know that.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, I would never touch vintage when we first met.
When we first met, yeah.
Yeah, like I would like it grossed me out. Like I was like, no way, like I can't do it.
He just had like a pre-made opinion on like what it was like. Now you like vintage.
Now I'll find vintage. I actually find like joy in finding things that are vintage and that like go along with my style. But then also, like, I remember we were at I don't know what store we were at, when we were at the mall that one time, and where I ended up getting the Etro shirt because I liked it. I honestly just liked it. And so, like, I've gained appreciation for brands that are, I guess, maybe less mainstream or more people won't know about them.
Totally.
I've also, like, when I first met her, and I think it was probably a sign of the times too, because we're also talking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was more into like logos, like big logos of things and stuff like that, which also was like kind of in. But I don't do that really at all anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a lot of. So that's probably changed.
Yeah.
And I've gained more appreciation for like other brands or offbeat brands, and I kind of like look for them as well. So
yeah,
it's kind of a thing. I like to find things that are different.
Yeah, like Dave, I feel like you've always had like a sense of style of what you like, but you've definitely like grown for sure. Like now we can we go out shopping together like literally all the time, and we'll find things for each other, but you'll also be able to like see beyond your style only and be like, oh, I think you'd really like this, and like show me something that I like 90% of the time probably do like. So
most of the time,
you know, I feel like you've definitely like evolved and like learned a lot too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, how could I not? I mean, if I didn't learn anything at this point, I wasn't paying attention, right? So
good answer.
Yeah.
Somebody also asked, how do you feel about us having such different styles?
So I don't know how I would feel. Like I wouldn't feel a way about that, but like I think that our different styles are what make us our individual. I think like your clothes are like your personality. So like I think like our clothes are our personality portrayed, exterior, whatever you want to say.
Exactly.
So and it's your personality coming out through your clothing. And so I mean, obviously we have very different styles, but that doesn't mean we're different people. Like you can have that style and still like get along. So I don't you know, clothing is just what you wear on the outside to express yourself. So
yeah,
I don't mind us having different styles, but I appreciate both of them. Obviously I'm not as colorful.
But you have fun sometimes with like a tie here,
more
a shirt
ties.
there.
Obviously, as you know, I'm really big
loves
into
ties,
vintage
colorful
ties right now.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing one today, but
you're wearing a colorful tie.
It's colorful, so. But.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like Bill Cunningham said it best. It's like fashion is a way to like say who you are without speaking. But I think the question also is rooted in like people will message me and be like, "Oh, I really want to start dressing colorfully, but I'm like worried what my significant other will say."
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I think if that's an issue that you're worried what your significant other would say, maybe you want to.
Yeah, think about that.
Think about that, because like I mean, I don't think Caroline gets up every day and worries what I'm gonna say, because she definitely doesn't. And I mean, I don't really get up every day and worry what you're gonna say, but I mean, obviously my style is definitely like. Less colorful.
Classic. Like
yeah, but so like I don't really have to worry about that, but Caroline doesn't worry about it either, and so like, and I would never like, she could wear whatever she wants, like I'm not like, I don't dictate that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
So I don't
think
care.
that's why we work very well, is also because it's like we're both about like express yourself freely, like whatever.
Yeah, of course,
know.
and I would never tell you what and what not to wear. So
yeah, exactly. The next question is, would you ever become an influencer and post regularly on social media?
So I like that you smiled at the end of that one, because you know the answer is no. I've always had this conversation with Caroline, is I never want to interfere in what she does. And so if that's what she does, that's her thing. I don't do anything. Like I respect what you do, but I would never want to obviously encroach on what you're doing. So
even though I wouldn't necessarily mind, but it's funny, I feel like you're like a one Instagram post a year kind of guy.
Yeah, I think
birthdays and holidays.
You can like scroll all the way to the bottom of my Instagram and like one scroll.
Yeah,
like there's not much on there.
Dave will also be like, how do I post a story?
And I forget, because every time I post, Instagram's different. So
yeah,
I don't remember how to upload anything. So
yeah,
and most of them are pictures of me and Caroline. So with the occasional picture of a car.
Car,
I
cat,
mean,
maybe.
I thought about it, I think, at one point in our career of like being like a car
Blogger,
influencer,
yeah.
blogger. But I mean, it takes a lot of dedication. And I think a lot of people don't realize that of how much dedication it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not that person to be dedicated to posting. So, I mean, it definitely and there's a lot of it behind the scenes too. Like, obviously you're working constantly with
Yep.
everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm not that person. So
Yeah. I mean, thank you for acknowledging that, because it is so much work. At one point, like, Dave, you were thinking about, like, doing a car blog, and I just want to say, like, Dave literally knows everything about cars. Like, Dave's the most knowledgeable person I know. Like, we could be watching a movie and, like, a tire of a car could be in the corner of the shot, and, like, you know what it is. So when he was going to start a car blog, he knew what he was talking about, is what I'm saying. But I think you understanding, like, this isn't just like a side thing. Like, it takes so much time to be a creator.
It can be if you want to
do it. It can start like that.
Yeah,
it
can start like that for sure. Like, I don't want to discourage anybody from doing
Absolutely,
anything.
yeah.
But like, it's definitely a lot of work, and I am more of a traditional. So I think when we built our relationship, and I think it's important, like, if you're in a relationship and you want to like become a creator, that you have to really think about like how you're gonna, like, how the other person is gonna be with it, because it takes a lot of time.
Yep.
And it's
a
I'm
risk.
trying to say, it's not a risk, but like I'm trying to think of how, like
the financial stability, or like what?
Yeah, so like with us and with our relationship, like, I obviously have the more traditional job, and not saying that the more traditional jobs make more or less money or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that, like, some person has to have that stability. You can't both be creators, I think. And even though I think I am creative, we both do our ceramics and things like that together. I don't know if anybody's seen that yet, but like, what we do. But, you know, it's, at the end of the day, one of us has to be the more traditional person, and one of us has to be the creative. And I think we've assumed those roles at this point.
Yeah, I think what Dave's trying to say, because, like, I don't want to also discourage, like, there's definitely tons of couples out there where, like, both people are creators.
For sure.
But I think also with what Dave's, like, chiming in on or getting to, is, like, you know, financially it is risky. You don't have insurance. You don't have, like, you know, stability of, like, a 401k necessarily from, like, a big company. So I think that's what he was trying to chime in on. And, like, I think from, like, I guess 6 years ago now, you knew that, like, I definitely wanted to, like, go out and start something. And I think also with your personality, you like more structure, whereas my personality, like, I don't, like, I feed off of, like, a little bit of chaos, obviously.
I think what we were saying before for with the personality coming out in our clothes. I think for me sitting here, the structure is me and my suit, and yours is the chaos of whatever's going on there. So you're welcome.
Exactly. So that's what he means. But also, I think sometimes, you know, never say never. Who knows? Yeah. If a brand reached out and asked Dave to be the face of the next Ralph Lauren campaign,
I don't think they're going to be, but if they're listening, I'm open to it.
He's open to it. Or Cadillac needs a model, call us.
I don't think they do that.
I don't know. I have no idea.
We'll go with it.
The next question, chiming back to our relationship, somebody asked, how did you ultimately know that I was the one?
So I don't think it was any particular moment. I think it was just how we could converse. And so going back to the story of how we met in college, and Caroline's brother, Tom, also went to college with her. Yeah. And so I met him right away. And actually the weekend we met, your sister was there as well. Yeah, my sister was visiting. So I met, like, a good chunk of her family pretty early on. And then I met your parents, like, within, like, 2 weeks. Yeah. So, because I remember they came out and we went out to the restaurant with them. So it just happened to be, they didn't come out specifically to meet me.
They came out for my cross country championship meet.
And then we all went out to
I was
dinner,
like, I met this guy. And
I just meshed well with her and her family. And we, you know, had similar goals in life. And, you know, we always talk about it. Like, we were even talking about it this weekend, is we always, like, work towards our goals together. And we always, like, make sure we achieve whatever those goals are together. And we were like that then, and we're like that now. So I think our personalities just meshed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there was like a specific moment when I was like, oh, Caroline's the one. I mean, I think it was
Anything
just over
on our
time.
first date? Anything I did that you were like?
On our first date? No, I think you more on our first date have something that what I did. But
Dave was just like such a gentleman, like,
yeah.
Well, also sort of backtrack. So we meet this weekend, right? And it's like a crazy chaos weekend because we just meet through friends. We're out partying. We go to bars. Dave and I actually like literally got kicked out of a bar the first night we met. I did, but they tried to cut me off and Dave bought me another drink. That's the story.
Apparently
so
that gets you kicked out.
Apparently in Pennsylvania. So he's like, okay, well, next week I'm going to like text you and take you on a proper date. And, you know, I had been in like a bad relationship previously, and I was like, it was so refreshing that like someone wanted to take me on like a nice real first date. And then he was like, do you want me to plan the date, or like do you want to know what's going on, or do you want it to be a surprise? I said surprise, obviously. What girl wouldn't want a surprise? Yeah. I'm a big surprise gal. And then we went out to dinner, and I remember I had ordered this like lobster bisque soup, and
let's put it this way: this is a Caroline thing, so I'm gonna jump in here real quick.
The crackers.
Is that no, not even that. So Caroline has a habit. No matter where we go, we could go to TGI Fridays. She'll order lobster, like the most ridiculous thing on the menu. Like it doesn't matter the place. Like Caroline doesn't order by the place; she orders by what she wants, and it's normally the most ridiculous thing at the menu. So here we are. For those of you that know the story.
Bisque.
So those of you that know the story is that I obviously had to sell the Xbox to pay for the first date. So I sold the Xbox and my printer for the first date.
Also, I didn't know any of this though going. So
Caroline,
I didn't order lobster though. I ordered lobster bisque.
This was
shrimp.
basically a bar. So the food wasn't like it was a very nice place. It's still in business.
It's called the Ugly Oyster.
Yeah,
give them a little plug. It's in Reading, Pennsylvania.
It's actually a pretty cool place. So there wasn't a lot of choices, and so being that she wanted a surprise, we went there because their bar is actually like they have like an actual wood bar, and it's like imported from I think Ireland. I'm probably getting it totally wrong, but it's awesome.
Yeah,
for what it was cool.
Yeah.
But we went on Halloween, so there's like a bunch of people in Halloween costumes.
Yeah, we were not dressed up.
Yeah, we weren't dressed up, so it was like a little chaotic, but it was fine. But Caroline, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All I was gonna say was I ordered this lobster bisque, and it came with these crackers, but they were like circle crackers, like
oyster crackers.
Little balls. No, I remember they were like a little bit bigger. Anyway, I looked at the soup and I looked at those, and like I looked at him because I really did like him at the time, but I also really wanted to like enjoy my food. And I feel like there's like this stigma on a first date where you like need to like look sexy or hot while you're eating, and I like am totally not like that. So I looked up at him and I was like, can we just like not look at each other while we eat and like just enjoy our food? Something like that.
Not look at each other.
Or like just enjoy our food. Like not judge each other. Not judge each other, I think is the word. And you were like, I was thinking the same thing. I'll never
remember what I got. I think I got a steak.
You got a salad and a steak.
Did I? That's about right.
Because I got the lobster bisque and the shrimp.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that because I was like, my point being like the food, yeah, it's like funny, but I just instantly felt comfortable around you. And for me, you know, I didn't have to put up a charade or like be somebody I wasn't. Like I was able to just like right away like feel comfortable, be myself, talk to you like I would talk to a friend, which I think.
Yeah, I think we were both like that. Like I look back at times like when we moved in together and stuff after college, and like it felt so fast at the time, but it felt like at that time I knew you forever.
Yeah.
So like obviously now I have known you for a long time, but like at that point it didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
It did, but it didn't feel like it was that short of a time.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you guys a timeline, we met October 25th. First date
was Halloween. So that was the next weekend.
Yeah, and then we officially became boyfriend and girlfriend on November 10th of 2013. So, like, that's quick. That's only, like, 2 weeks or something, like, so, you know, I guess when you know kind of thing, and we've just been together ever since. So, yeah, I mean, also, like, then the next weekend after that, like, Dave invited me over to cook me dinner, and when I got there, he knew that I really only liked green tea. And so he had bought a box of green tea and had it at his apartment. And we were in college at the time. So it was these little touches for me that just showed me you were listening.
Yeah, and when I made chicken parmesan.
Yeah, you made chicken parm. It was delicious.
Yeah, so I was listening.
Thing.
I was paying attention. Anyway.
So this question actually kind of like jumps off the last one.
Okay.
If you had a chance, like, what, if anything, would you do different on our first date?
Well, I'd like to say I wish I had a little bit more money back then, but unfortunately, no matter what I did, I think that was as good as it was going to get for where we were. So I don't think I would do anything differently because it got me to this result. So I don't think I would change anything.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I remember it even rained.
It was like misty.
He wanted to take me to, there's this place in Reading called like the Pagoda, but then we didn't go because it was raining. So then we went to Redbox and got a movie instead.
Yeah, Redbox. Now we're dating ourselves now.
Which was The Great Gatsby, and then we ultimately like watched The Great Gatsby. You know, like everything really happens for a reason.
Yeah,
so
I don't think I'd change anything.
I would change anything either. Somebody asked, "What's your favorite thing about Caroline?" I swear I didn't write this.
Was it you?
I didn't write this.
So my favorite thing about you, and I think it just in general, is that you do your own thing regardless of what anybody says. Whether I say it, whether anybody says anything, you're very like independent of like yourself. Like you just do whatever you want to do, but in a good way. Like you always like have these things that you're working on, and you're always like trying to be more creative and more like, and you're constantly like, I guess, honing those skills. And so like I appreciate somebody that like is constantly working towards what they want. I could respect that, so I think that's probably my favorite thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, whoever submitted that question. Yeah. Swear it wasn't me. The next question is, do I ever inspire you to have more fun with fashion?
Do you inspire me?
Yeah, do I inspire you?
So I'll be honest, I'll never go like to the extreme of like how you are. However, yeah, I think like the vintage tie thing that I've been on lately, that's like my new kick thing. I think like that was definitely like inspired by you. And I think I've probably purchased more clothes since I've known you as well. So I've definitely like changed my wardrobe up a lot since I've known you. So I would say with that, yes.
Yeah.
And then also obviously we go to a lot of events and things together. Mm-hmm. So I have more of a need. Like I think I own more tuxedos or suits than I've ever owned in my entire life because I need them to go out to events and things with you, and obviously I can't look bad, so constantly doing that. So.
You never look bad.
Thanks.
Even if you were just casual, you always look very nice. Even on our first date, also, I want to point out, he wore like a dress shirt and pants. Wow. So you were always like Dave Core, I feel like.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, I feel like you always. And, the next question actually is about the closet. Like, people are curious about your closet space compared to mine. How much space do you have?
So, I don't. I do have a closet, but Caroline has her closet that you see
in videos.
And videos and everything else. That closet's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. We built
that closet. That was
we converted like half a room.
It's actually pretty nice inside the room. Like it's big enough to be like a small office for somebody. It's definitely pretty big. Like I know you don't see much on.
You see mainly the corner.
But
same spot.
But it is pretty big. And then we have in our bedroom. There's a closet in there, which has become Caroline's coat closet. And then there's actually another closet in the bedroom where her actual closet is. Which is also Caroline's
that's like
closet.
Overflow.
And
and I have a storage unit.
And so we have that, the storage unit. So there's a closet in our downstairs bedroom. That is mine. It's not very big, but that is my closet. There's also 2 other closets in that room. We have a lot of closets, and I think none of them are really that big, but
they're not big,
those are also filled with
small.
Caroline's coats. Caroline's got a big coat thing, I guess. I don't know.
The problem with the coats are, and anyone who's a fashion girly who's listening to this, like faux fur coats take up so much space. Like, it's really not my fault.
Yeah.
Like, the coats
I
take
have
up...
2 coats for the guys that are listening. I have 2 long pea coats. I have a tan one and a black one. That's it.
That just describes us perfectly.
Yeah.
I have, like, a red faux fur coat, pink faux fur coat, like, a bluish green, puffer jackets, like... Yeah. For me, it's part of the outfit, not so much
I'm not complaining.
necessity. No. I know you know. I'm just explaining.
So, but
it was also never a discussion.
Then we also, obviously, in the new house.
Yeah,
the new house in the Poconos has a huge closet, probably bigger than Caroline's current closet. She says no, I say yes.
I mean, I don't know yet. We haven't built it out with all the shelving yet, so I'm interested, like... A room can feel very big, but then once you put all the shelves in, I feel like it looks...
But I have a bunch of crew neck sweatshirts in there, which I'm assuming are going to get evicted soon as Caroline decides to start hanging up her stuff. But right now it's not built out, so I'm assuming I'm getting bumped to the downstairs closet there as well. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to put in that closet yet.
You got a lot of space in there, but anyway.
So the next question is... I love that you regularly go on fun dates. How do you plan activities to enjoy together?
So, I'll be totally honest here. It's rarely me. It's mostly Caroline plans them. There's the occasional time where I'll want to do something and I'll plan it out. But for the most part, it's Caroline. Caroline loves doing anything she can do, specifically in New York. So she's always doing that, and obviously we are fortunate enough, I guess, to have the opportunity to go to so many events and things together, and trips and things like that. Like even for work and things like that, we're able to go on a lot of trips and brand trips and press trips and things like that. So, I mean, when I met Caroline, I didn't even have my passport, so we'll start there. I mean, also 10 years ago, so I was only 23. But
you hadn't been out of the country.
No, I hadn't been out of the country, so I've done a lot of stuff with you, and we do a lot of trips and traveling and things like that. But mainly because you plan it, I would say.
Yeah.
I am the worst planner. I'm probably the worst. I'm more spontaneous than anything. Like I'll wake up on a Saturday and want to go on a day trip. Where Caroline will plan out things long term.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So like I'll see something on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. I'll like save the video. I'll send it to Dave. I'll be like, we should go here.
I don't even look at it because it's in my Instagram.
He barely looks at it, and then I'm like, I got a reservation here. Yeah. So I would say it's definitely fueled by like my sense of like exploring New York City, like going to new restaurants, going to a museum, definitely like all the events we get to go to. I feel like sometimes we'll make it like a night, like we'll go to dinner before or after the event to like, so it's not just about work, and we'll make it like a little date night and stuff, which I feel like is always like more fun. And then you're definitely much more like, it's Saturday, want to drive to Woodbury Commons, or like want to like, and P.S. we love Woodbury Commons. It's a designer outlet, but where we go shopping a lot. So, or Dave will be like, oh, want to go to the vintage stores in like New Jersey? Like you'll be like, let's go like
and feel like doing
do
something.
This. So you're definitely more spontaneous.
I also wake up. Caroline will sleep until like 11 on a weekend. I'm like up at like
if my alarm's not set on a weekend and the cats are in bed, forget it.
Yeah. I wake up right away. You don't. So, but anyway.
Especially a weekend. The next question is, I'm curious to know how you make the relationship work. My boyfriend doesn't work in fashion, so I feel sometimes we have too many differences because my lifestyle is more glamorous. What's the secret?
So, there's a lot of, that's a lot of questions.
Answered in parts. Yeah.
So, obviously I don't work in fashion, but I try and enjoy the events and things like that. Like I said, like I think we just kind of covered that to a degree. Like we kind of make those events and things like that are more glamorous, our date nights, and that's how we do things. So I think we kind of do it together. But again, we do everything together. So I think that's like how we kind of do everything. And I think like it ends up overall elevating. So like if you say like, okay, your life is more or your career is more glamorous, but we do everything together, so I think like it ends up becoming your entire lifestyle as a whole.
Together.
Like it ends up making your lifestyle as a couple that more glamorous to use that same
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
So I think that's how we deal with it. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
mind, and I'm also very like accepting. Like, I'll come in and get you if it's a late night event or whatever the case may be. I'll go pick you up, so that we're not like, we're not separate. Like, I'll
Yeah.
always make it easier to do whatever. So I mean, I think we're just,
You take photos when you need.
yeah, I take
like,
photos. Normally when I go to the events, that's the behind the scenes, is that when I'm going to an
Videos,
event, if
photos.
I'm the plus one, I'm gonna be taking the pictures. So like, I think that's like,
Yeah.
kind of accepted at this point. But again, been doing it a long time together, so
Yeah, I think, my advice with that is kind of like what Dave said, is like try to incorporate your partner into your world and into your work. Like,
yeah.
if you do get a plus one to an event or on a brand trip, like, obviously they need to be willing to help you and take photos. Like, if they're like, yeah, I'll come, but then
They have to respect the job
they're,
and
like,
what the responsibility
forgetting
is to
that
go
it's
to that event.
exactly.
Yeah.
If they think that going to, I don't know, a premiere is just fun, like, don't get me wrong, it is fun, but it's also still work, and you need to make sure
There's a reason you were
you
invited.
get your TikTok, you
Yeah.
get your Instagram story, whatever it might be. So if you can, though, bring your partner, it then becomes really fun for you to experience those things together.
Yeah,
and then it becomes a thing for both of you. So that would be my biggest advice, is if they're willing to come to things with you and involve themselves and to become part of your world, I think that's the best way to ultimately make it work. So then you both have things to talk about. You then know each other's,
And then I meet other, like, your work acquaintances and people that work for the brands and things like that, which I always love doing, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best way to do it, because otherwise you're segmenting yourselves into two separate sides of things.
Yeah,
So,
like, you're separating your world.
yeah, like,
where
you could tell me, oh, here's so-and-so from this
So-and-so,
brand. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember the time I said hi, whatever.
Yeah.
But, I think it's...
Dave's coming to events this week where, like, he knows the PR people. We had dinner with them in Paris. Like, I feel like when you involve the person in your life, it becomes better. But if they're not, again, willing to incorporate themselves and become part of it, then maybe, it's not a good fit. But, like, if they're willing, because I'm not going to say, like, from 6 years ago, I didn't get plus ones to events.
No.
So there was definitely years where, like, I was out late at events, running back and forth, working crazy hours, and so were you, and, like, it wasn't always like this. So there's a lot that also, like, led to this.
Correct, yeah.
The next question is, there's only 2 left. Somebody asked, do you always tell me the truth about how you feel about certain looks and outfits I wear?
Yes, I do. But they're not, I mean, Caroline will not take my advice. I think we kind of covered that earlier, but yeah, like, not that much. We just had different styles, and I just, I'll say, like, hey, that's a little bit of a crazy outfit, but, like, it doesn't matter to Caroline. So it doesn't, and that's part of her thing. So
yeah, I think for me, like, I've developed this sense of self where, like, if I think something looks good, then I think it looks good. And
and that's not, like,
really
you didn't really
care.
ask for my opinion, so I don't really, like, give it to you, to be honest. Like, we're not like that. Like, I'm not gonna be like, hey, what are you doing? Those boots don't match that dress. Like, I don't do that.
Okay,
I mean,
good to know how you feel.
They do, I think.
They
but
do.
I was just using
Mixed
it as an
prints,
example.
yeah.
So.
But I think, part of with what comes of putting yourself out there online and posting on social media is, like, you have to be confident in your outfit, because, like, if you have any sense of doubt and then, like, people's haters, like, people you don't even know, start commenting hate things, and you're like, then you start second guessing the look. But for me, if I was like, I believed in that look and I thought it was good, then, like...
Well, so one thing I've learned with this job, and I think anybody aspiring to be a creator, is people are always going to say something. So Caroline gets, obviously, hate. I get hate. I don't know why, but I do. People always tell me my suits don't fit, which, by the way, people that say that, all my suits are tailored to fit me, so I'm not really sure why you say that all the time.
I don't think the people listening are the haters, but...
But just saying, if you see them on there, ask them what they're talking about. So
Yeah, defend Dave.
Yeah, so, because it's constantly, like, people are always saying things. So I think what's important, what my point was in that, is that, like, just be confident in whatever you're doing. Don't listen to the other people and what they're saying, because there's always, no matter what you do, somebody's always going to have something to say about it. And just be confident in what you're going to want to do and what you want to do and what your brand is. And I think that goes back to why I don't really critique Caroline's outfits per se is because it's what she's doing. She doesn't need somebody else to say something. If she's confident and it feels confident, why would I mess with her confidence in that? And so same thing with me. I mean, not that you say anything. Oh, you do occasionally. You'll say, hey, you should wear this with this or whatever. Try and
maybe just give some advice.
More
like,
often than not,
it's
it's more
this.
just encourage me to go outside of my
Yeah,
traditional style.
Did you see this tie? If I like find a cool vintage tie online,
Normally you just
I'll
buy it.
text it to you, or
Yeah.
I'll just buy it. I'll be like,
Yeah.
look what I got, or like I bought you that like vintage Dior jacket.
Yeah.
Like, if I see something that like I think he might like, I'll get it from him. And if he hates it, like he's not forced to wear it. Like you don't have to wear anything.
No.
So,
I mean, I don't
and vice versa.
it,
like
yeah.
like I feel like it's just it's a good open level of communication.
I agree.
And then the last question, we did this episode for you guys as a celebration of our 1-year wedding anniversary. So somebody asked, what's one thing that you've learned in the first year of marriage?
That I learned in the first year of marriage. So I don't know if I necessarily learned anything in the first year of marriage because we had been together for such a long period of time. Obviously, we were together for 9 years before we got married.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing I think, what I will say is everybody goes, your life's going to change once you get married. And I don't feel like our relationship changed at all. Nothing really changed that much in our lives when we got married. I mean, maybe people respect your relationship a little bit more, but I don't think I really haven't, nothing changed for us. I don't think our relationship changed after being married. So I don't really have anything that I learned.
Anything
maybe
you've learned? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say maybe you have something
maybe I
that
do?
I'm not thinking of.
I actually did a whole episode on that, so I won't go
okay,
into it. But I was gonna say anything you've learned, like being in a long-term, committed relationship, living with someone, any
Sure.
advice you have for people?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that with any relationship is one person's gonna be really neat, and one person's gonna make a mess out of everything, and Caroline's the person that makes a mess out of everything. And so
Organized
so
chaos.
make sure when you're getting into a relationship, make sure one of the people knows how to clean up. So because if it's not you, it needs to be the other person, because otherwise you're gonna live like the Grinch. A garbage dump. So Caroline's you ever see those memes where there's
Tornado.
2 nightstands and the one's the mess and one's the neat one. Mine's the neat one. Mine has a book and a water bottle on it. Caroline's has a pile of things. Stuffed animals.
It's girly things, guys.
Yeah.
I need my water. I need my stuffed animal.
Water,
I need my jewelry.
16 water bottles.
It's not a mess. It's called girl aesthetic.
Sure, okay. One person's going to have the girl aesthetic then.
It's organized chaos. No, but really, Dave is so neat. On one of the first times we ever hung out, after our first date, he had a party at his college apartment. And it was 2 a.m. or something. Everyone had now left. Everyone, we had been partying, we're all tired. I'm in my pajamas, ready to go to bed. Dave's up vacuuming.
Well, so
2 a.m.
So I get the spins, and so I always like to clean up beforehand, because then I can sleep in, and then I can wake up. So I'm a planner as far as that goes. I'm not a planner as far as dates go, but I'm a planner as far as my days go. And so, if I'm going to have to do something the next day, I want to prepare myself. So, my apartment was a mess, which my apartment was very nice for college because I kept it really nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
And so I wanted to clean it up, and we had this specific party that Caroline's talking about was a pretty large party for a small
apartment. It was a Halloween party.
Yeah, it was definitely way too many people for that size of the apartment. And so I like to keep it, I wanted to clean it up, and so that way I could sleep in, and then the next morning I could wake up and it was clean.
Exactly.
So Caroline would have maybe done it the next day, so that's why we're together.
Yep. So you gotta have the yin and yang, guys. You'll find your person that's essentially your perfect balance. And I think for both of us, and it just works. For everything we do in life, we communicate a ton. We talk about everything. We support each other. We're open and honest with the other. And I think, you'll find that person. When you find that person that balances you out, that makes you feel at peace, that tells you the hard truths when you're being a slob. Like, that's your person. That's your person that's going to support you and be there for you through, through everything in life.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
So that is a wrap on another episode of Making It in Manhattan. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
This was a very big treat, guys, and a big deal to get Dave in the podcast studio. So I hope you guys loved this episode as much as I do. Make sure to follow us everywhere at Making It in Manhattan, and we will see you guys soon.